Hello guys and welcome to DA channel. Today I will share with you some tips and tricks and do's and don'ts regarding the knife sharpening. So about the knife sharpening, probably there is several million of videos all over the internet. I suppose you're not going to hear anything fundamentally new in this video, but there will be some tips and tricks that could be very interesting and very useful, so stick around. First of all, I will show you some of my sharpening toys that I gathered over the years. So there are these cheap whetstones. This one in particular is 1000 and a 3000 grit. It's two-sided. You see, there is a 3000 and 1000 on the other side. It's not bad, and for the price it's very nice. I cannot remember, I bought it a long time ago, so I cannot remember how much did they pay for it. I suppose 10 or 20 euros. This one I bought recently. It's Austrian made Tyrolit, and it's 150 to 320, but this is something unusual regarding this markings, because this more looks like I don't know, 400 to 800 or something like that. It's not as coarse as what I'm used to when I say 150 grit on a sandpaper. Also, this is my Valniven DC4. This is my favorite field sharpening stone. It's very old. It's a first series, and it's, I think, about more than 20 years old. I suppose so. If it is possible, I'm not sure. So you can see on it. And also, I have these diamond covered plates I bought on AliExpress. It's 1400 grit. They are very nice for let's say for some repair of a damaged blade or something like that. And for today I made something very, I think, something very interesting. This is piece of 50 by 50 millimeter square tubing with piece of plexiglass bolted on its top, and white plexiglass because I needed some even smooth surface and I did not have anything else, so I had a piece of plexi. You could use a piece of glass, maybe a piece of granite. It would be a very nice, but I did not have it. And why I decided to bolt it on a tube, because this tube could be attached, fastened to a bench with the bench vices, with this, not the bench vices, the, I don't know what's the name, the carpenter's vices, through these holes on the centers. Oh, it's a little bit dirty inside. So, and you simply use piece of double-sided tape like this, and to secure this on the top of this plexiglass, and you have a very nice and very useful sharpening device. Very cheap, with a lot of different grains. And so I already prepared several of these different, you know. So there is a from 320, 400, 800, 1000, 1500, 2000, 2500 and 3000 grit. So it is very good and very useful. so you can make a crazy sharp knife with this for just a little bit of money. So, and of course afterwards you can use something like this. This is a leather strap that I made out of an old military belt. So as you can see, I made two of these. You see, it was a old belt that I used, glue it on a piece of wood. So on the top of it you can put whatever abrasive you have. I have several of these. These are diamond polishing compounds, so that's why I made two of these boards, because two of these strops, because I want to try several different polishing compounds to see which is best. But as I said, you can use whatever you want. You even can use some, not all, but some of the toothpastes. You can try, really. When I was a kid, these polishing compounds and whetstones were not available, so I could not find a decent sharpening stones. So I was started very early using these sanding papers. So I first was using that pad that has some kind of a sponge or a rubber on it, and that was a big mistake. So don't use that. Use some hard surface. Doesn't matter that or your knife is Scandi grinded or convex. You just use a hard surface for sharpening. Believe me, you will see. So about sharpening, from my point of view, it's a knife sharpening. It's not a science. So just take your knife. As a beginner, I advise to buy some very cheap knife and learn how to sharpen it. There will be some mistakes for sure, but you will learn a lot. And also for the beginners, I think the Scandi is the best thing to learn how to sharpen. Why? Because Scandi has this edge. When you start to sharpen, first put a knife like this, then adjust it on the edge, and afterwards do this. Always try to keep your blade leveled with this edge and try to move it like this. So okay, this is not very handy for me, but you know what I'm talking about. So start, I don't know if your knife, this knife is very sharp for start, so there is no need to start with with a 320, but for this you can easily start with 1000 grit and go up to 3000, and afterwards just take this strap. I know that there are on the market, they have this handle attached here. I'm used to use mine like this, so I'm holding it like this. As I mentioned, this knife is already very sharp, so there is no need to sharpen it again. And also, when you finished, it's good to have one side that is not covered with the polishing compound, so you can finish on it. From my point of view, it is more to clean your blade from this polishing compound, then you will get something very useful out of it. So I think this is pretty sharp. I will show you how this is used. These come with several different thicknesses, so choose the smallest thickness that you have. And also, before I glue it to this surface, I first put it on some piece of my clothes, so it gathers a little bit of those, you know, dust from your clothes or something like that, so it is easier to remove it afterwards, because these are these 3Ms are very good quality, so they're very difficult to remove. This knife is pretty beaten, so, and there are several points where it is damaged, so I will start with this. So you can see even this is not very good position for me to sharpen a knife. I like to be a little bit closer and to use it with both hands, but you can see how this follows the edge. So Scandi is very nice, very good for learning how to sharpen a knife. So Scandi is most easiest to sharpen regarding the technique. It's easiest to learn how to sharpen, but it is hardest because it is time consuming. You know, you see how big is this edge that you have to remove if you want to properly sharpen the Scandi knife. But as you can see, this removes a lot of material, and so the blade is repaired, so we can continue. So this should be fairly easy to remove now. Okay, this is what I was hoping. So the tape stays on this. So I will now use the 400 grit and continue. So as I said, I already cut it to size, and that's also my advice. Have a lot of this handy, cut it to size. Also, when you finished with this, okay, this looks like something that you could use again. Don't throw it in the garbage, because very soon you will be stuck with a pile of these that are used, that you're not going to use ever again, and if you try, they are dull, they are dirty. Also, interesting thing, you can use this paper, this sanding paper, with water. It is very good, but I don't like to get my hands, okay, they are now dirty, but I don't like to get them wet and dirty. That's why I'm using this and not wet stones very often. So you can clearly see how the paper is following this edge. You don't need any Sharpie or something like that. As I said, from my point of view, knife sharpening is not a science. Just sharpen your knife. Nothing. It's not a big deal. As you can see from one side, it goes much better for me, because this position that I am in is not very fortunate, but it is good enough for me to show you how to sharpen your knife. So several more passes on this 400 grit, and let's continue. And after 10 or 15 minutes of sharpening and a little bit of a stropping, this knife is as sharp as it can get. So as you can see, I think this method is very good, very cheap for sure. You saw I was using the sandpapers from 320 up to 3000 grit, so in theory you would have to have I don't know, some 7 or 8 different whetstones to achieve the same results. Also, when you finished with this, or leave it as it is, and afterwards just to remove this piece of the sandpaper and attach another one, and there is no soaking, there is no water everywhere and dirt and everything. After this you just have to wash your hands, and that's all. And knives get crazy sharp. And you saw this knife was very damaged. You can see it has some hammer marks on the spine, so you can imagine what I have done with it. To resume it, tips: use 50 millimeter wide piece of something with a smooth, even surface, whether it is a plexiglass or a glass or a piece of the granite or something like that. Why 50 millimeters? Because these come usually as a 50 millimeter wide. Also, use it or on something which is a little bit elevated from your bench. Why? Because your hand is free to move in this way. Important tip, really, before you stick your double-sided or carpet tape, however you call it, to this surface, rub it against your clothes to get a little bit of dust, so it would be easier to remove afterwards. These things, especially if they are a good quality as this one, could be very difficult to remove after. Also, about this, you can use, as I did, any piece of leather. You don't have to buy a leather, or you don't have to buy purposely made these leather strop. You can buy whatever you want. Any kind of polishing compound would do. This one that I used now is a little bit, how can I say, bigger grit, but it is good enough. It does not have that mirror polish afterwards, but as I said, that's why I made 2 of these, so I could experiment with different polishing compounds. I want to make it to cover it with the 3 different polishing compounds, and when I finished I wanted to achieve that mirror polish on the edge. Why? It's not important, but I would like it. So I hope you find some interesting ideas here, something you heard, something useful. And if you liked this video, if you would like to see more of these videos, please subscribe and like our videos. It means a lot to me. Thank you very much. Goodbye.